Ben has unlocked the secrets of understanding how our minds control our business and daily lives. Inside each episode, Ben shares his proven actionable items, tips, and secrets to managing the supercomputer between your ears so you can build and develop your business and start living the life you desire and deserve. This is Practical Psychology for Business with Benjamin Halpern.
Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. Today's podcast, we're going to talk about something that you've heard 3 billion times. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on it. Planning versus action. Planning is so important because, the old adage says, people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. So of course planning is vital, but we hear so much about this idea of planning that we get stuck in the planning phase. And money is not made in the planning phase. Yes, it's a very important piece of the equation, but if we get stuck there, nothing ever happens. If we're the perfect athlete and we don't go to actually compete in the Olympics, nobody's going to know about it, and we're not going to have any financial or emotional or spiritual benefit from it. Planning is not enough. You have to execute. You need to do action. So planning the perfect sales call, planning the perfect sales plan, planning the perfect, game plan for the new year, it's all useless if it doesn't wind up being followed up by action. Tony Robbins says, knowledge is potential power. Knowledge is not power. So planning is not power. Planning is potential power. Action is where power happens. Now, we wind up thinking that we don't have our planning perfect, so we're not ready to take action. But the reality is that action is a part of the planning. So really it's a catch-22 type of thing, because the more you take action, the more you see which parts of the plan need to be revamped to correct them. And then the plan gets better, and that new plan, that new adjusted plan, will trigger better action, which will give more feedback to get the planning going. So it's really a circle. So you plan and do action at the same time. So it's not planning and then action. It's not black and white that way where there's one and then comes step 2. No, you just have to have enough planning to be able to do some action. When you do action, that's going to give you the feedback. That's your biofeedback mechanism to know whether your planning is at all on target. And as you get action, it reinforces or corrects your planning. So we want to move today. So if we're going to, divvy that up, planning and action, I think the 80-20 rule applies. You should be spending 20% of the time in planning and 80% of the time in action. Because a very, very big part of action is actually the planning. Because you see if it works, you see what doesn't work, you come back, you apply what you learn, and get planning in order. So the most successful people in the world are trying to focus 80% of their time in action. Because ultimately that's where rubber hits the road. That's where it happens. That's where you learn. That's where money is made. That's where bodies are created. That's where relationships happen. That's where weight is lost. It's all in the action, not so much in the planning. Now, the reason why the planning phase can't be spend so much time in it is because planning is the assumption that you know or you have knowledge in advance as to what's going to work for you, whether it's in a diet or what's going to work for you in a relationship or what's going to work for you in a business, what's going to work for you in a sales call with a specific, market or specific clients. You can't plan that because you have no idea. The past doesn't equal the future. Things totally change. We now know that, the turnaround time for a product to go out of favor and to be obsolete, back in the day took several years. Today it's a couple of months. So when you're planning, by the time you've done your planning, much of your planning could be totally obsolete. The market changes that quick. So planning today, the old idea, the importance of planning was when there was a world that took years to evolve. So then planning was a phase that you did before you took action. But we're in a world where it doesn't really make a difference what you planned it can all be over by the time you take action. So things change that quick. Things these days change in a heartbeat. Markets, boom, up, down. What's in today is out tomorrow. Things move so fast. Therefore, planning is so much less important from a planning phase as for an action phase. Get out there, put the feelers out there and see what actually works. And if you're selling correctly and you're selling yourself, you don't have much of a past history to know how you're going to do and what style is going to work for you, especially in an ever-changing environment. So therefore, 20% planning, 80% action, and thrive. If you want to, customize specifically for you the right recipe to make it work, I'm more than happy to help you. Check out my website, benjaminhalpern.com, to see what I can do for you there.